sponsors of the Shir this evening, Betty and William Perlman, sponsoring in memory of Isidore Perlman Yitzchak Ben Arya Leib Olav Sholem on his yahrzeit. The Heilige Neshama should be zocha to a tremendous continuous aliyah in Neshama and Gan Eden Shamayla Mechayel Achayel. I want to make mention as well of Gusei Blumenthal, Glick Abbas, Ruvain Halevi Aleha Shalom, as well as Aaron Ronald Gabe, Aaron Ben Moshe Avram Olav Shalom, and Etta Markowitz, Etta Avachna Bas, Yehuda Leib, Aleh Shalom, the Heilige Neshama should all be zocha to a tremendous and indeed a continuous Aliyas and Neshama and Gan Eden Shamayla Mechayel Achayel Amet Hashem. So here we are with Siyata D'Shmaya, Bein Pesach, the Shavuos, between Pesach and Atzeres. And we know that in the midst of the journey to our Sinai, the Maimed wherein we received Torah Seinu HaKadosha, the greatest gift in the history of mankind. We got the Torah and with it, of course, the Taryag Mitzvahs. But we stopped at a place called Themoro as we journeyed towards our Sinai. And Rashi tells us several times in his Perush al Torah, for instance, Sham Samlo Chok HaMishpat V'Sham Niso, that Klal Yisrael, they were given mitzvahs miyuchadis at Themoro. Dahainu, before we made our way to Har Sinai itself, yes, we were going to get God's Taryag Mitzvahs. Makis Chav Gimel Merbeis, Torah Shabbos Simlai, Torah Tzivilon, Moshe, Torah Gematria 6:11, Hanochi V'Loyachem Epiyah Gevuru Shemanu 6:11 and 2 is 6:13, and yet it was integral, it was pivotal, that before we made our way to Sinai itself, Hashem says you have to receive certain mitzvahs beforehand. Dinim, Shabbos, Kibbut Aveim, and Paraduma. Yes, some have the Nusach without Paraduma. Abakayadu Rashi by us, we have the Nusach, not only Kibbut Aveim, about Paraduma as well. Parenthetically, Rav David Konen is Adama to the Sefer Akav Lamishar and Daf Yadalit. He cites the Imrei Shammai, who says Efshar the Matik, the one who was copying over the Kisvei Yad, made a mistake. And really, there's no one need a Paraduma. After all, what do you need Paraduma for? Paraduma wasn't going to shaykh until you build a Mishkan, and then you had the red heifer. That was going to be sometime in coming. Paraduma wasn't even shaykh yet. You weren't even given the laws of Tum and Tar. What shaykh Paraduma? So the Imrei Shammai wants to suggest that maybe it was a mistake. The Matik thought that it was Pei Aleph, Dahainu being Mefaneach L'Rosh Tevis is Paraduma. Really, the mistake was it was Chaf Aleph, standing for Kibbut Av, Kibbut Aveim. Amamela made a mistake. Now again, we have in Rashi Kibbut Aveim and Paraduma. Based on the Sifri Zuta, they're actually both appearing. And Kibbut Aveim, regardless, wouldn't be abbreviated Rosh Tevis Chaf Aleph, it would be Chaf Aleph Vav Aleph. Hakoponim, how we see Klav from Rashi, based on Chazal, that we got Dinim, Shabbos, Paraduma, and Kibbut Aveim. That means here we are in the midst of Bein Pesach Latzeres, before we get God's Taryag Mitzvahs. Before we get there, it was integral that we receive these mitzvahs. So if we take them apart, I understand Dinim. After all, if you don't have Dinim, if you don't have a Sanhedrin, you don't have Bati Dinim, all society crumbles internally. The only way to set up a structure, you need a system of courts, a judicial system, a legislative body, in order to make sure that Chaim on the bill. We don't want people swallowing everybody else up alive. You can't have Gezel. All society is going to fall apart. Avad, if you're going to have a new Am created called Am Yisrael, then the only way to keep us together, the glue, is having a concept of Dinim. And thus even the Goyim, the B'nai Noach, one of the Zayim, it just has to be Dinim. But there is no musig of creating a new nation and having a society if you're going to take away the police, right? If you're going to, let's get rid of all the police. They're funding Meshuggah. You can't have society if what do you have? Meshuggah. And next somebody comes into us, what are you going to call the psychologist? What should I do in such a case? Whole thing's Meshuggah. You need Dinim, otherwise there's nothing to talk about. So Dinim I understand. Kibbut Aveim, we also understand it the same way it was pivotal that Kibbut Aveim made its way into the Decalogue, onto the Aser Sedibris. And what's it doing on the right side is the Minchas Chinuch and all those discussed, L'chayra B'Pashtus. Superficially, what's Kibbut Aveim? It's a Beidanim L'Chavero. It ought to be. On the second side is the Ramban, based on the Medrash tells us the right side, the Luach on the right is Keneged Mitzvah Sveinanim L'Makom. The one on the left, Keneged the Mitzvah Sveinanim L'Chavero. Kibbut Aveim Pashtus is the Mitzvah Sveinanim L'Chavero. What's it doing on the right hand side? Avada, it's number 5, serving Akilu as the bridge, as the Mavar, linking the first 5 and the last 5. But Avada, certainly it finds its place. It's more apropos on the right side. Why? Because how can you go ahead and serve and honor and revere a creator of the world before you taste the mashal down here of what it means to be Machabed, to to have yira and honor from your biological creator. Only once you have tziva miyucha that says, recognize your parents from whence you came, be machabed them, have yira from them, understand the mashal, get a taste down here. The same way the sugya and brachas, you can't understand machusa, the rakia, without getting a glimpse of machusa da'ara down here. The same way you can't understand avos Hashem without having the mashal of avos ishas, the Rambam clearly delineates. And without knowing what it means to love, you can't know what it means to love a creator. So I understand keeping of aim. I have to get it tomorrow. What does it mean? I'm going to get to our Sinai, and I got to love a God, and I have to fear a God. The creator of all. The creator of all is first to understand keeping of aim, what it means. Your own biological creator, and you could use that as the mashal, as the stepping stone. Then I could understand and fully appreciate what it means to be machabed, to honor, revere, respect, and indeed to fear the Almighty above. So I understand kibbut aveim, I understand dinit. Paraduma, frekte velta kasha. Paraduma, what are you getting paraduma at Themoro for? So there we have a kliyaka, we have some sefer, and we have a Rabbi Yaakov Kamenetsky, Nemes Yaakov, we have a Soloveitchik reflections of the Rav, and many others echo the same theme. You know why you needed paraduma? Not for any pragmatic purpose, not for any practical concern. It wasn't going to be no gay, it wasn't at all relevant until you build a mishkan and you had red heifers. So what do you need paraduma? Because that establishes the mabat haklali, the general perspective and the outlook. When you're going to get to Taya Gemitzos, you're going to break them down and say what? It's mishpatim, ve'ila mishpatim, asher tasim lefreim, ve'ila mosef al rishayim. These things make sense. But you're also going to get chukim. You're going to get things like Basa b'cholav, you're going to get things like shanes, and you're not going to understand. You're going to say, at least there are a lot of mitzvahs called mishpatim that I do understand. Right? There's some sefer, the kliyaka, the Yaakov, and Soloveitchik. We need to set the tone. We need to go ahead and establish the appropriate perspective before you get to Sinai. You're going to hear mitzvahs, and a lot of them are going to make sense. You know why you do them? View them together. Paradumas, zoschuk, satira, zoschuk, choka, paraduma. That's malame that teaches hakol Torah kula. That even in the things they think you understand, be'emes the kushta demilsa, you don't really understand them. Shlomo melech l'chocham mikolodam hamati echkom amhiru chokav many. This mitzvah told me that I understand gornish of a gornish. I don't understand anything. I need to have paraduma to tell me that even the things I think I understand, you don't do them because you understand them. You do all the mitzvahs keilu begeda. I don't understand them, and that's Mefurish Chazal twice in Shas Brachos Lam Gimel Amud Beis, and again in Megillah Chafei Amud Aleph. One of the reasons the Mishnah says in Brachos Parakei Mishnah Gimel, one reason the Gemara explains is you don't make me dosa. I better make sense. God has rachamim. The Rambam more nevuchim. Ramban argues the Perachal Beis Parshas Kisei, but the Rambam says Ivana, it's about the rachamim. Teretz is what? Yeah, you could entertain that as one of the many reasons. But the Lamaisa, what is Shiloach Hakein all about? That's it. That's all a gezerah. Therefore, Meshaskan also, you say, Hashem is such a barachamim. If you're Omer b'tachnunim, as Rashi says, you know why you do Shluch HaKen? You know why you do all the mitzvahs satira? Because kach gozer aleinu HaKadosh Baruch Hu. They're all gezerah, saying we don't view them as midas harachamim. Gezerah him lefanai ve'in lecha reshus lacharel. And that's Paraduma explaining these gedolei mafarshei hamikra that establishes the proper mabat, the correct perspective, the outlook that we're supposed to have klape all the mitzvah satira. The stage needs to be set at Mora before we stand collectively at the Pinmat of Sinai and we receive all 630 mitzvahs. We have to know what's the outlook. And the outlook is even the things that make sense, I don't do them because they make sense. As the Rambam makes very clear in his Shmona Prakim, Agdama to Perkei Avos and Perek Vav, yes, there are mitzvah sichlius and mitzvah shimius, but even the mitzvah sichlius, the ones that had their not been a Torah, I would understand purely on my own intellect that I have to observe them. Kamashmalon, you know why you do them? Because the Eibusher is mitzvah for me to do them, and not because they make sense, not because they're sensible, they're rational, they're logical, but not because they feel right. I do them because the Eibusher is the Almighty above who is goes or like these are the mitzvahs. Ein anela gezerah saying, and that's paraduma. 3 out of 4 gishmak. Shabbas. Yes, you're going to tell me, Achad Ha'am, we know Ramesha talks about in the Tshuva, the first one who gave us the famous line was, of course, Achad Ha'am. Heschel elaborated in the Sabbath, but more than the Jews have kept the Sabbath has kept the Jews. And more than Jews have kept Shabbos has kept the Jews. Yes, Shabbos is one of the Zayim. It's a shkulos, it's equated in a certain sense with all the other Taigim. It's just, but Lamaisa, one still has to wonder, why was it necessary to have Shabbos there in Har Sinai. In the end of the day, we have Zayim, it's a schoolist. Tefillin is also Shakol Keneged. Kol Mitzvah Shabbat Torah. So is Milah. So is Tzitzis. And yet they didn't have to be given in Mori. Yes, we had Milah already. And yes, Tefillin was talked about. We have other Mitzvah Shakulas. Why was it necessary, together with Dinim, to establish a core fabric, a systematic legislative body? I understand that society. I understand Kibbut Avei. I can't honor, revere my Creator that I'm going to meet and see and glimpse in Har Sinai without understanding my biological Creator. And I understand Paradumas. That's my outlook. Shabbos, yes, Shabbos is a gewaltige matana. Shabbos tafiyunim beis. Aleich amru lahem. Moshe Rabbeinu, God says to Moshe Rabbeinu, tell the matana tova yeshli beis kenazai of Shabbos Shema, and tell them I'm going to give it to them. As the Sfas Emes points out, as we mentioned in the past, a beautiful diak. Never in Chazal do we see that Hashem took that matana tova out of beis kenazov and gave it to Klal Yisrael. Right, Sfas Emes? What does the terminology clearly indicate? That Zog this Vasemes Matana Tova Yeshli Beis Ganazai. I have a special gift that's in my Beis Ganazai. V'Shama Shema. Aleich Emer Lahem. Go in and tell them about it. But never in Chazal do we ever witness that God took Shabbos out of Beis Ganazai and gave it to Klal Yisrael. Zog this Vasemes. You know why? Because Shabbos is the opportunity when we leave this world that we join Hashem in His world. It is and it remains in Beis Ganazai. Tell Klal Yisrael. You know what happens every Shabbos? I take Klal Yisrael out of this world and I bring them into my world, into the spiritual realm, into Beis Ganazai. Tell them about this Matana Tova that I'm keeping in my treasure house, and I'm going to bring Klal Yisrael and let them glimpse my treasure house come Shabbos Kodesh. Interesting, we're about to get the Torah Shavuos time, and there are only two mitzvahs that the Goyim can't keep. If a Goy wants, yes, they only are obligated to He desire mitzvah Salah Beis Gimel Dalet Evim and Achai Berkas Hashem Gezel Adinim, and then of course the big three Gilai Shvichas Dam and Avodah Zarah. Out of those seven, if they want, they could observe all 613 mitzvahs except for two. That's Rabbi Yochanan and Reish Lakish Sanhedrin and Chesem and Beis going on to Nun Tesem and Aleph. Goy Sheshavas Chayav Misa and Goy HaOsek B'Torah Chayav Misa. So, Baisai, what emerges from this Gemara, Rabbi Yochanan and his Talmud Chaver Reish Lakish? There are only two mitzvahs that are margish, a unique bris between us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Dahainu, there's such a love between us and the Bari Olam. The Goyim, they can also do the mitzvah Satira. So, which two mitzvahs highlight our uniqueness in contrast to all the other mitzvahs? There are only two mitzvahs that any guy, however L'Shem Shamayim he wants to be, not only is he not given Shabbos and Torah, but if he's Osek and Torah Chayim Misa, he's mufka from this world. The Maral explains because it's antithetical to his core mahus, to his etzem tchunas and his going no shaychus. To being Osek B'Torah is a gift. Kilakatovna sati lachem. It was given solely, exclusively to Klal Yisrael. No shaychus to being Osek B'Torah, and likewise no shaychus to Shabbos. Shabbos is, I'm giving it to Klal Yisrael, and Goy Sheshavas Chayim Misa. That means that what? It's very geschmack lefinias daiti. We're about to head to Shavuos and we're going to get the Torah Kedosha. And the Torah Kedosha says what? As the Gra writes in the Sirah Gra Nisha Yisrael, Hashem showed us He loved us by giving us the Torah. I bet Abishter you get. The Goyim also can do the mitzvah, but they can't keep the Torah. So that shows you know what sets the stage? God says, I took you out of Mitzrayim and out of under the power Yemaya Vodim. Yemaya Vodim. It's Maya Vodim. Where do I feel the alpha? Abishter says, before you get to Matan Torah, I'm going to give you the other gift. I'm going to give you a gift to Shabbos, which says what? Torah is, I'm going to come down and I'm going to bring the Torah, Al Yedei Moshe Rabbeinu, the Torah from heavens above, and I'm going to bring it down. What are you doing? Taking the Torah out of Shemayim and giving it to Boss of Adam. The Abishter took the Torah out of the heavens above and He gave it to us the same way. Lo nina Torah elo lochle amon. Mon is lechem shemalach yesher sachamo. It's in the heavens above, and God brings it down and gives it to us. Likewise, takes the Torah, gives it to us. Aidei Moshe Rabbeinu, Mamela Tainis Tesam and Aleph. The Mon is B'schus Moshe. The Torah is given Aidei Moshe Rabbeinu, who goes up to Shemayim. He's all of the Mora, and he takes the Torah and brings it down. You know what sets the stage? The Feiner at Mora, Abishter says what? I'm going to give you a gift of Shabbos, which like the Sfas Emes is what? Before I come and give you the Torah, which distinguishes you from the Goyim like nothing else. There's only one of the mitzvah that distinguishes you to the point that if a guy keeps Shabbos, he's Chayim Misa. I'm going to give you a Shabbos, but you know what the difference is? Shabbos is before you get to Har Sinai, where you guys stay at the bottom of the mountain, and there's an Isser, and Ashara Miyuchedes, you're not allowed to climb up. You can't go to the top of the mountain. Hashem says, stay down here. But don't worry, the Shekhinah is coming down, and with it, I'm giving you the Torah for the heavens above, and I'm bringing the Torah down here. But Shabbos came first Themoro. You know what Shabbos is? Like the Sasemis is telling us, you're down here. Shabbos is a golden opportunity every single week that you could Ke'ilu leave this world and go up into Beis Genaz of Shakadosh Baruch Hu. The Ava that Hashem says what? It's very nice that a father comes and visits his son in his bedroom. A father says, son, I love you, but you know what shows the love anymore? It's thunder and lightning. And the son knows that anytime he wants, he could come into the father's bedroom and he could go and get the arm around the shoulder. You could go into the father's bedroom and see that love. That's a whole different dark of Ava. God says, yes, Matan Torah, I'm going to show you that Ava. That's a Hafto Sonu. I'm going to take the greatest gift in the history of the world and I'm going to come down with it. And I'm going to give you the Torah Lekach Tov Nasanti Lachem. But you know the precursor for that, the other mitzvah that distinguishes you from the Umas Olam, that it's forbidden for them to do. I'm going to start in Moran. You know what you're going to get a taste of? You're going to catch a glimpse of leaving this world, and I'm going to let you into my inner chamber, my Beis Genazai. I'm going to let you leave this world. I'm going to come up and you're going to join with me. Mamela, Dinam, Kibbut Aveim, and Paradumas set the tone, the Masha, the Karka, to give us the right perspective, the right outlook, and to set up society. But you know what? Goyim also have a musig of Kibbut Aveim. Kedushin Laman Aleph, Laman Aleph, Hadechem, it's Kibbut Doma ben Asina. It's a guy who teaches us what it is. They fully understand keeping up hay. And at the end of the day, Dinam, they also have Dinam. Paradumas to establish that outlook. The Mefarshei, the Gedolei Achonim told us. But you know what Shabbos is? God says Shabbos is unique to you. I let you leave this world and the Yom HaSolam. I'll let you come up to Beis Genazai and I'll let you stay connected to me. Amela, what is the Kedushin all about? The Matan Torah? Matan Torah is us getting married to a Kodesh Baruch Hu. Amela, what shows that Ava? I mentioned in the past a Moiradika Remez and the Zidichava Rebbe. Zidichava Rebbe says, you know what Shabbos is? The time when we connect to HaKadosh Baruch Hu like never before. And then Mesha Chochman, Emor, and many others talk about it. Shabbos is the time we're connected to the Eibishter. Shavuos Tachta Vayetze Yishmam Komo. It's us and HaKadosh Baruch Hu highlighting their unique relationship. Explains the Zidichava Rebbe. You know what Shabbos is? It's all about Ava. When we have a Yontif Dik Davening, what do? We add the word Bi'ava. All throughout the Shmoneh Esrei of Shachris and Musaf, we find Shabbos is Bi'ava. It is Bi'ava. It's an opportunity to love Hashem b'chol alei, b'chol hanevesh, b'chol me'odecha. Right, says Zidichaver. You know what Ava Shlema is? Ava b'chol leiv is Gematria 97. Ava b'chol nefesh is Gematria 495. And Ava b'chol ma'od is Gematria 110. And 97, 495, and 110. And what do you get? 702. Exactly. Gematria Shabbos. You know what Shabbos is? Ava b'chol leiv. Ava b'chol nefesh, and Ava b'chol ma'od is 702. To love God with everything you've got. Avram Avinu was the first one called Oavi. He loves Hashem with all his leiv. Yitzchak, Akedes Yitzchak, loves Hashem with all his nefesh. Yaakov, from him we learn Chaviv and Tzadika, Chaviv and Aleim and Mainam. Yosem Egufan, it goes back to V'pach and Getanim. B'chol Avavcha Keneged Avram, B'chol Avshach Keneged Yitzchak, B'chol Medachya Keneged Yaakov. They gave us what? Ava b'chol leiv, Ava b'chol nefesh, Ava b'chol ma'od. Gematria 702. No coincidence. It's not in the Sefer Gematria code, but it's in the Sefer Masa Choshev. You know what Gematria 702 is? Gematria exactly Hachupa the Kiddushin B'Sivan. Rabbi say, you know what Shavuos is? We start the derech. We're getting married to Hashem. To the exclusion of all the Goyim. 702 is Ava b'chol leiv, Ava b'chol nefesh, Ava b'chol ma'od, and it's Gematria Hachupa the Kiddushin B'Sivan. That was Matan Torah. That Shabbos setting the stage, the culmination. The Ava when Hashem says, you came up to my house. Now I'm coming down to yours. I'm coming down to your home. You're going to reenact it in the Mishkan. We're going to come into your Dira and perpetuate the maimed of what Har Sinai is all about. That Shabbos is getting ready for Matan Torah and getting the Torah. That's unique. That's the Amanichor, the Am Segula. The Lachs Kodesh. Have a wonderful night.